He's like old man nudity, don't you?
Oh,
Uh,
100%. That's totally my jam.
yeah, there you go. That's
And
the
that
ticket.
won't be taken out of context at all.
No, that won't be at the beginning at all.
Let it be
All
known
right.
here and now that Nick really likes old man nudity.
I mean, you like James Corden, so there you go.
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
No, that is complete and utter horse
Fri
shit.
friendship
Yeah, yeah,
over.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. All
Okay,
right, you
so
guys
the
ready?
the main elf
Yeah.
guy is named Peter Jacoby, and he's been in 19 movies. Anyway,
All right.
holy shit, three quarters in regard it's not a big cast, but three quarters of the damn cast are elves.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's Flashback Reviews, and Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates Christmas. We're here. We're here to talk a holiday movie, one that is well respected, well beloved, and it's a Christmas movie as well as a horror film, kind of a comedy too. So this movie is going to be a fun one to talk about. Unlike Coffee Table, Triv, would you say this one's a little more fun to
You
talk
know
about?
what? It's got some dark comedic elements, but nothing like the dark comedic elements of Coffee Table.
Exactly. Kurt, have you ever seen Coffee Table?
I have not.
You should watch
Ooh.
Coffee Table. And then you might feel bad about yourself. Okay, so as always, flashback reviews are, movies that I take from the past and talk about them, all that stuff. Today, I have Triv, of course, my co-host on the Fifth
Woo.
Dimension in the Twilight Zone podcast. Triv, Merry Christmas to you, even though you don't have any Christmas festive stuff on. I'm sorry. I'm sad. I'm a sad
My
panda.
whole background is sparkly red.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. But you usually have a hat and a beard, and at some point, you no longer have a potato as a computer. So, there you go. At least you have that.
Well, you have a creepy old man staring over your shoulder.
That's Santa Claus. Thank you very much. He's gonna
Uh-huh.
kill you.
That's why he's in a
Uh,
cage.
yeah, right. Also, we have another person to join us, and that, of course, is Kurt. How you doing, Kurt? Welcome. Thank you for joining
Hi, I'm
us.
good. Thank you very much for having me.
Woohoo!
Yep, yeah, appreciate it. So Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. This is a movie that I saw in theaters, believe it or not.
Really?
Um, yeah, it's I remember hearing about this movie from a lot of critics, and then it played for like a week or whatever it was back in 2010, I think it was. This is a movie that is directed by Sisu Jamari Helander. If you haven't seen Sisu, it's a really good movie, really good action movie with no plot. They also had Jorma Tamilia in it. I guess his son plays his son in this movie, which I didn't
That's
realize.
cool.
Yeah, Omni Tamilia, but Jorma Tamilia is the guy who's the main character in Sisu. And this movie is probably one of my favorite holiday movies to watch every year, just on the simple fact that it's horrifying, but also comedic and delves into the very Krampus nature of what Santa Claus can bring. I mean, it's a movie that is well beloved for what it is. It came out on December 3rd, 2010. I can't remember when it released in America, but it only made about $4 million at the box office. It's about 82 minutes long, which is kind of nice. I like when movies are not long, which is what this holiday season has been with all the movies that have come out. This movie's also a movie that is part Finnish, part English, which is pretty interesting. And yes, so I brought Kurt and Triv in this because they've both seen this movie. I'm assuming they like this movie. I mean,
It's
I'm
been
assuming.
a
I mean,
while.
that
I
you
need to
guys,
give it a rewatch.
assuming you liked it, right? I mean,
Yeah, it was interesting.
the only reason I say that is because I know you guys like the really weird and strange stuff when it comes to like B level, Santa with muscles type of movies and stuff like that. So,
Who
um,
doesn't want to see Hulk Hogan as Santa Claus?
Can we
right,
not say
right.
we did?
Or was it Santa Claus battles the Martians or something like that?
Oh, Santa Claus
It's
conquers the Martians.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
seen that one, and we have definitely seen that one. We also Trev and I just did the Geek Salad retro. Well, no, I did the Greek Salad retro review with Santa Claus, the Mexican Santa Claus episode. We just did the Santa's Santa's
Uh,
the Village movie. It's like the three shorts that
uh,
they did back to back to back. The
yeah, it
Village in
was
Horror or something like
yeah,
that.
that's what Riff Tracks coined it. It was Santa's
Yeah,
Enchanted Village, Santa's Helpers, and I don't
yeah.
remember what the
Uh,
third one was, but they were
oh,
done to promote Santa Claus Land, which is there's one in Illinois, and then there's a couple in California. So,
Yeah, well,
Oh wow.
I will argue that that Santa Claus is more terrifying than this one
I would agree. I mean,
because
there's a couple of them
everything,
that are pretty.
everything in those shorts were terrible
Oof.
and
Yeah,
terrifying.
there was a wolf at one point walking around, and it sounded like two accordions having sex every time he walked.
Yeah,
That's both scary and
it was
hilarious at the
hilarious.
same
It was
time.
hilarious.
But we're here to talk about a much,
Yeah.
much, much
What?
better movie.
Yes, we are.
So Rare Exports, once again, is a Finnish film that has English in it, and it's really difficult to. I don't know if it's difficult to explain, but it's a movie where basically Santa Claus. We're going into spoilers just to let you know. Santa Claus is basically this 45-foot kaiju monster that they've uncovered in the ice storm, and in the process of everything, the people are being attacked by an unknown assailant. We have this kid who I'm not going to pronounce his name because I can. It's a weird fucking name, Pietari or
Pietri.
whatever his name is. Pietri. Okay. Yeah, I'm really bad with other names. Anyways, he's a kid that I don't know if he believes in Santa, but him and his friend come across this excavation site. The thing I really enjoy about this movie is nothing's really truly explained about the excavation site. They're uncovering or they're doing fracking. I mean, Triv, help me out here. I know,
Oh yeah.
Kurt, if you remember, what exactly
Ba-
is happening in this?
basically, so
I can't remember.
they're on the Russian side of the Finnish Russian border, and there's I'm from what I understand, like a millionaire that's trying to find like Santa, like trying to prove the origins of Santa. So he gets together this excavation crew, and they're basically excavating this giant mountain that sits just over the border from Pietri's house.
Right.
And they found him deep, 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 deep underground. They've been doing core samples, and they end up finding remains of a giant ice ball that it turns out is the original Santa, basically. But Santa, like Nick said, is a giant kaiju Krampus thing that basically punishes children, doesn't like reward them.
Yeah, which is, if you guys know the Krampus story, that's exactly what Krampus is. This is what I like about the Michael Daugherty Krampus movie is they actually go into detail. But apparently, Santa Claus delivered to good kids, and Krampus was the basically whipmaster that would punish kids, like bad kids. So this feels like, if you guys want to elaborate or agree with, is that story of Krampus. Basically, it's not even really about Santa Claus; it's about Krampus himself, or something of that nature. Because it's never really fully explained, but that's just the kind of nature of what I got out of it, is that they've uncovered Krampus basically, and as we learn later on, there are people protecting, or there are creatures protecting Santa or Krampus or whatever, and this kid basically is under the assumption that Santa Claus is killing people.
Well, and
And
in theory, like the way I would take it is like a lot of myths over time, they get divided and changed and such. Krampus and Santa are one and the same when it comes to this. And only that they were divided out, Santa became the good side, Krampus became the bad side. But the way this looks, and like Santa or whatever you want to call him in this particular instance, is an ancient creature that ancient people basically trapped under this giant mound. So.
right.
Yeah.
As it, I was like, go ahead, Kurt.
Oh, I'm reading up on Krampus here, trying to get some more in the. I do love like the connection some of these these Christmas style horror movies have of Krampus, and it was a figure I had never heard of until I started as a kid I never really heard of Krampus, but like as an adult I did. It's actually kind of cool, and I always wanted to go to Krampusnacht, the Krampus night, and is it in Germany? I think is what they do. The Feast of Saint Nicholas on the 6th of December.
Oh yeah, no, that would make sense.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just kind of cool that they pay attention to this mythology that seems to just been lost to time. I think it's just because as we get further from when the origins were, we just kind of forget about some of these traditions. It's
I
just,
think too, depending upon the area of the country you're in too, there's
Yeah.
probably like, you go to Jersey and the Jersey Devil is a big thing and
Yeah.
you may offhandedly hear about it, but without the reference point, you kind of
Yeah.
gloss over all of it. So,
I'm sure there's like Scandinavian communities like in the upper Midwest that probably know about
oh yeah,
Krampus and stuff like that.
I would say yeah.
Those Minnesotans.
Yeah, it's it's really kind of interesting about this movie because we start out these things that are protecting this Santa or Krampus or whatever it is. They would never have attacked anyone if they didn't go exploring for this Santa Claus. Like it's really fascinating that like these people are being knocked off because something is protecting this Santa Claus. And what's even more fascinating is when they capture someone, it's like this naked dude. They automatically think it's Santa Claus, but nobody like the kids are cutting through the fence. They have like a electrified fence, and I don't know. It's a really fascinating kind of in look to what the Santa Claus and Krampus kind of storyline can be. And I don't know. Like in the beginning, it's like somebody compared this to the holiday version of the Thing in a lot of respects, where these
Yeah.
people are up in the these people are up in the Arctic or whatever, and they unleash something or something gets unleashed, and then they have to like stop it or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know. It's really fascinating to be honest. It's like
Yeah.
I'm sitting here watching this and I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
the
it's a
fence
unique
thing
film.
was so the fence. So the way that it starts is the Pietri and his buddy like basically break apart this border fence. They go up to see what's going on top of this mountain and see these guys, doing their thing. And it turns out that by doing that, they release what is assumed to be wolves into Finland, and it destroys the local reindeer population, which is what keeps the locals employed, basically. So
Mhm.
yeah. All right. So basically, when they set off the explosives for this mountain or whatever, they unleashed all the elves. Basically,
basically,
is that
they
what?
basically
Okay.
it'd be like yeah, it'd be like with Gremlins, you get Gizmo wet, and then it
Yeah.
create lets loose all the other Gremlins. They essentially opened a Pandora's box, lack of a better
Yeah.
term.
Right. That makes me wonder, like, was there a time where there was a group of maybe back in like what the fuck is that? Viking days or whatever, back in that time. Like they caught this Krampus Santa Claus and they actually encased it in the mountain or something like that. It's like
Yep.
what at what point do you think, because it's really interesting, like it doesn't really go into that much detail, but if you really think about it, like at what point was this Krampus Santa Claus encased in the ice? Like did it crash land or is it like an alien? And then I liked when the kid, or it's one of the people who sees the kid or the father or someone says this isn't your Coca-Cola Santa Claus or something like that, which I
Yeah.
laughed at.
So what
Yeah,
happened was
Coca-Cola Santa Claus is just a hoax.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
basically, the people the native folks that lived there, however many thousands of years previous, Santa is essentially a demon or some kind of evil entity that stalked the people, and anytime there was kids around, they went towards the kids. They got him out under the ice and basically got him into the ice, and then like it froze over was the story, and then in the spring they basically brought up the giant ice ball and buried it underneath the what became that big mountain. And this was
Okay.
thousands of years previous. Yeah, I apologize. What was the second half of the question? Oh, so Pietri was like looking through like all of and who knows where a 7-year-old or 9-year-old gets like all of that research. But basically it was going back and looking at all these relatively old texts talking about the history of what Santa really is, and it turns out that he's a giant evil bastard.
To be fair, Trib, I'm pretty sure Finland has a good school program.
Well, no, but those are
education.
some pretty ancient. Like those books were pretty freaking ancient, and he was sitting there like because Santa had horns, and he's sitting there like coloring over the horns with a hat.
I mean, technically, we're talking about a kid who was telling an adult what to do, and then almost sacrificed himself in the middle of everything. So the kid's like a heroic he's
no, 100%.
He's like John McClane, but like 8 years old or whatever. But
yeah, he became a man when he nearly sacrificed himself to a bunch
Right.
of ancient men that were chasing after him. That
Well,
sounds bad.
the thing I like about the kid is like he's a kid. Like he has like the cardboard ass thing on him, and he's like
Oh,
the
yeah.
costume. He has like his friend has a gun, but he also has like the teddy bear and a chain, which I thought was awesome. Like
Was that just a slipper with a set of button eyes? It sort of looked
it
like it
probably
was
was.
a
I mean, they're not this family is not really that. I mean, they're not doing very well. You could tell they
No.
live in a small 3-person village, and I think their father is like sacrificing or killing whatever, and
He's a
it's
butcher.
well, yeah, and when the deer are killed, it's like their livelihood, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, going into like before the killing of everyone from the elves or whatever. I mean, what do you guys think about like going into the kind of the opening of this movie?
I thought it was really
Maybe you
interesting.
want to go
Like it
first?
kind of. Oh, sorry.
He said, "Oh, you're fine."
I thought that
Damn
the
it,
way that they
Trent.
opened it reminded me very much, and obviously it wasn't like it wasn't
Uh-huh.
necessarily taking anything from like 80s movies, but you look at that movie where it's a set of kids, they're out someplace that they shouldn't be, they see something that they shouldn't see, and then all hell breaks loose. Not that they're the
Yeah.
ones that caused it, but they're the ones that are kind of like, what's going on? And the one kid has an extreme amount of knowledge about whatever the thing is and kind of goes from there. And nobody
Yeah, it's
believes
just a
him.
situation. Sorry. If you,
No, go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's all
was
I
just
had.
it's a situation that's like out of their control. So just doing kid shit, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Being
It's been a while
nosy
since I
and
saw this. It's been a while since I saw this one, so I'm kind of trying to fly by the seat of my pants by memory here, but
No, you're
I
good. You're
need to I
good.
need to re, I need to rewatch. I do need to rewatch it. It's on Tubi, so I need to
Yeah.
rewatch it because I remember
oh yeah.
I caught it on TV a while, like I don't remember how long. It's been a few years. I think like IFC had it on or something sometime, and I was watching it. It was
Oh
actually
yeah.
very. I actually really liked it. So
Oh, it was excellent. And there's
yeah,
yeah, it's a really well put together film. It takes what it needs to and kind of just builds upon it. And the
right,
opening, you do kind of go, okay, all of these reindeer are being killed off.
yeah,
What's killing them off? And
Reminded me
you
a
know,
little bit like it was a little bit inspired by like, Jurassic Park a little bit because
I
like
can see
hmm
that.
there's things just killing it. And there's like the beginnings, like the crazy kind of opening with whatever. But it's I like how it also subverts expectations because you get this guy, this naked man that is killing people. You have no idea why. Nobody has any idea why. And then they
yeah.
capture the guy. Or I think that either the guy falls in or the
Guy
thing
falls in a
falls
pit.
into. Is it the guy or was it the guy that he killed?
No,
Was it
so what
it was the
happened
elf
was,
guy, right?
yeah, it was the elf guy that fell. So because they think it's wolves that are taking out the reindeer population,
Yeah.
the Pietri's dad like digs a pit and puts all kinds of stakes down there to try and capture what he assumes is a wolf. And it turns
Right.
out that he captures one of these elves, but the elf still has like pieces from the guy that he killed, including his ID. So they start off thinking that it's the one of the guys from the excavation site.
Right.
Yeah.
And Trev, was that guy that your favorite kind of dirty? His feet. I mean, he looked like he hadn't had a shower in years.
Well, I mean, I appreciate the mantra that just get up, if you fall and break a leg, just rub some dirt on it and get back to it. And this guy was very much about that. So,
That's the
Right,
Midwestern
right.
way.
oh, 100%, yeah.
Exactly.
Midwestern or Finnish apparently.
hmm
Exactly. But I like how just like intuitive, inquisitive this kid is, and
Yeah.
he tries to. His dad and him have a very strained relationship, and I think it has to do with like a mother died or something like that. The
Yeah.
mother, because the way he acts and the way his demeanor is, because you could just when it comes to the stress of like a loved one dying, you could just see it in the person's eyes, and you could
hmm
tell in their voice and how they act. And he gets really upset at his son at some point, and actually sends him to his room. And his son's like, Santa Claus is real. He's like, get the fuck out of here. Santa Claus ain't fucking real. He's like, but my reindeer are dead, so how the fuck are we gonna feed each other? It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It's almost it's a movie about how Santa Claus is not what you think he is. He's the thing we
Yeah.
think he is of course the Coca-Cola version, but it's
hmm
also about the unfortunate circumstances of loss, losing a loved one, and that's a. I love when movies do that. I love the idea of like, the It's a Wonderful Life is about a man who did everything and doesn't feel he did anything, and the
Right.
movie about the plays on the effects. But it's the same thing here. It's like you see it in the kid, how the kid rises up, and the father feels helpless, and it's all that kind of stuff. But it's
Right.
all wrapped in a good horror comedy holiday film. But
Yeah. Yeah. I like the elements of the thing, and that's one being a huge fan of the thing. This
yeah,
this thing that they uncover in the ice, and they have to, it starts attacking them basically.
yeah.
Well, it attacks the kids. Like
It attacks the kids. It doesn't
yeah.
attack like adults. It attacks children,
Well,
which perfect for
the,
like that kind of Scandinavian, because like the Scandinavian people are always like warning about like like their folklore is all about like violent, like if you're naughty, something's gonna be violent at you or whatever.
Yeah.
well, it's funny too because when they captured this guy and they're inside the slaughterhouse, like it literally doesn't. The elf doesn't respond. It doesn't react to anything until it bites the guy in the face. But as soon as the young kid goes in there, the elf is like all of a sudden like rising up and excited, and we find out later on that apparently, as you were saying, Kurt, that the the Santa Claus, I guess he eats children or punishes
Yeah.
them by putting them in burlap sacks, but
It's
and
amazing like
yes,
how many like there's violence in like a lot of like children like related folklore, like the,
right,
the nursery rhymes, like the German nursery rhymes, like Hansel
Oh
and Gretel
yeah.
and stuff like that, where there's just
yeah,
violence. It's
yeah.
it's
It's
not
that
this cutesy little story. It's just, or like, oh, what's it, the one from The Office that Dwight tells about the thing that cuts off the thumbs if you suck your thumb
yeah.
too long.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know about that one.
that's actually a German folklore.
Oh my
I can't
God.
remember.
God.
Struwelpeter. That's it. Yeah,
Oh my
Struwelpeter. Yeah,
God,
cuts off your thumb if you suck it too long. So it's like a way to get kids to stop sucking their thumbs. Otherwise, some weird like nymph or whatever is gonna come with a pair of scissors and cut
oh
your
my
thumb
God.
Oof.
That sounds like something he would tell. Um,
Well, and that's the
yeah,
thing too.
yeah,
They're trying to all these elves over the course of time. They're trying to like they basically get all of the kids, pop them in burlap sacks, and put them in front of this giant melting ice block that's Santa.
Mhm.
And they're
I
trying
like
to
how they.
rush the.
No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna
Go ahead.
say at the same time that all of these kids are being taken, every single radiator and stove and even a hair dryer are being
Yeah, they're just
taken.
all missing.
No one knows why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how intuitive the elves are. They just know to go find some kind of warmth. I just wonder like how long they were down there. Like are they like T1000s where until they're activated they just sit there and stare
Yeah,
like
they're huddled. They're just like huddled together,
yeah,
just
I
waiting
think
exactly.
I
one
think that
day.
is the case. Either they were like they were either like sitting there or they were sleeping or something. Because
Yeah.
without the imperative to go do something, they're kind of like just not doing anything. They're playing
Yeah.
poker or something.
They're playing poker. They're playing Yahtzee.
There you
Or
go.
They're
Connect Four.
social distancing. They're doing what we did during the pandemic. They're just social distancing.
They're all
Actually,
social
these are
distancing
all
together.
right. This is after the crash of 2008, so they all were homeless. They just found a
Yeah.
place in a mountain.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Scandinavian place is really cool. We'll huddle here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got their own little commune going on.
Right. What's funny? Like some of the best horror reading, whatever, are the ones you were talking about, Kurt, with kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Simpsons did a really funny spoof of the witches of Salem witch trials or whatever. When
Yeah.
they were, although they figure out that Marge and his sisters or her sisters are witches, and they decide that they're going to steal all the children to
Right.
eat all the children. So it's kind of great. I think it's the idea of like how innocent children are, and like the
Yeah.
idea of like how they fuel what people want out of life is to be youthful again. So, like drinking the blood of a young kid or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
I think that's the idea. And I think it's even greater when, like I said, when the elf like wakes up when he sees the young kid.
Yeah, it's all this stuff about like, the all the folklore and stuff like that. It's just about getting children to behave. And it's like no different than like, like religious texts about like children behaving or otherwise you're gonna go to hell. Like, in Christianity or whatever, you're gonna get punished if you're a bad kid. And that's kind of like
Right.
what some of these folklores are. If you're naughty, Krampus is gonna come in the middle of the night and kill you, or
Yep.
or here, like what I heard when I was a kid when I believed in Santa Claus was that you're gonna get a lump of coal in your stocking. It's all this stuff about
Uh,
being a good kid and all that stuff. And what happens when if that becomes a reality? Like there's this gigantic kaiju that looks like Santa Claus is killing people.
oh, it is Godzilla.
Yeah,
Um, That's the interesting part. I like how the young kid, the main character, is like he thinks he's naughty. He thinks he's naughty because he opened up the fence, even though he's just a young kid that didn't know any better. But he opened up the fence or whatever until and all the elves got out. He thought he was a bad kid, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that the kid makes mistakes and he acts like a kid. I mean, once again, he has like he puts on the helmet and carry around whatever with the chain, and it's like I really appreciate that. I really think that's the strong suit of this movie is just how they let the kid be a kid, but they also give him some like fun things to do, and you
right.
know, and like the dad who his two friends, his two cohorts are a lot of fun too, and
Mhm.
when they put the sand or the elf into the cage onto the truck and drive him to whatever they drive him to like the is it like one of the warehouses or something like that? Isn't it where all the elves are being kept or something like that?
Yeah, there's like a
They
Kwanzaa hut.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
realize it at the time, but the place that they're meeting the rich guy was like probably like you say kind of their kind of headquarters thing or where they were able to land and take off and such. It looks like a big airplane hangar, honestly. Or maybe like an
Yeah,
Yeah.
airport.
I just like how
yeah.
they make the mistake of opening it up and all of a sudden a bunch of naked people start running out and
As you do.
I've never seen so much
Yes.
dong in all my life.
At least it's
Like good
realistic,
lord.
maybe? I don't know.
I mean if they can make a Watchmen dong, I mean I guess they could do elves.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
I
like
mean,
the fact
the
that
fact
it's not like Santa Claus the movie or the Santa Claus. It's like here's a really gross interpretation of Santa, and I kind of like that.
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
Santa's elves, not Santa so much.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I like how they put him in a Santa outfit. He just like he gets that big smile when he realizes the elves are like coming out or whatever, and they realize they made a big terrible mistake, and they,
Yeah.
they start getting attacked by elves. That's good stuff.
Yeah. It's a pretty effective horror comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, it's like I said, it's not a very deep movie when it comes to its story. It's just basically a kid who
Yeah.
uncovers that there's a thing happening. People start disappearing. Equipment starts disappearing. Reindeer start dying. They
Yeah.
uncover an old man who ends up being an elf, and they realize that they have an elf and they don't have Santa Claus. And then the third act happens, and I really love the third act because is audacious, is ridiculous. It is maybe one of like the greatest horror ending comedy endings I've ever seen because okay, so they've devised a plan when they see Kaiju Santa that they're going to well first they see the kids who are like the
Yeah.
kids in the burlap sack and stuff like that, which I thought was hilarious. I think it's funny that the elves just put a bunch of kids in the sack and the burlap sack and how they use them later on in the movie. But
Mhm.
they have like next to like all the house appliance equipment, like the stove and like the hair dryer that's like melting Santa, and I like how the kids are in front of all of it. So it's like, wouldn't these kids be dead at this point? Is that I just have to suspend disbelief?
Well, no. Well, it did just happen over the course of like the one night, really.
Well, no, but like, how much of that heat can like a burlap sack? It's like when you put a person in a box, you put the rat in the box, and you heat it up. I mean, within a few minutes,
Yeah.
that rat's going to start, devouring you. So, a burlap sack, I'm sorry, is not, as warm
It's
as you're going to get
pretty.
really hot in that
It's pretty. Well, I won't disagree with you, but it is pretty airy. Like a burlap sack isn't exactly like a plastic bag.
Well, but
Yeah.
how many kids are in each sack, though?
Well, just one, I think.
Are we sure about that?
Pretty sure.
Maybe.
I mean, they
And
might
they were
have
all
heat
grouped together,
stroke,
too.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still very
Well,
cold outside. So even though
Claustrophobia
Sure.
kicks in.
yeah. And
Yeah.
why couldn't they get out of the sacks? It's not like the sacks. I mean, burlap sacks they're not exactly made of steel.
You have to have really sharp
Well,
canines.
Yeah.
Right. The real question you got to ask yourself is when they devise a plan on how to get these elves to go to the electrified fence, and they decide, oh, we're gonna put all the kids into this big net similar to how you would like get crab and all that stuff, fish, and we're just gonna put them all on top of each other. All these kids on. I don't know how many kids are in this thing, but there's a ton of kids in this net, and they're gonna raise up in a helicopter, and like all the kids are gonna be fine. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty. That made
at
me
that
laugh.
point-
Actually, it's like
At
Jesus.
that point, if like you say, a bunch of them are dead, what's the loss? The ones that are alive, you put the dead ones on the bottom, and then you stack everything.
Oh
else
my
above.
god.
Yeah, that's just cushioning if the case the thing breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. I just thought that was funny. It's like when you see videos of like all the little ducklings and stuff like that, they toss them all in the same thing. It's like, would someone be dead? It makes me laugh because it's like it's really demented. It works. I mean, they lift the helicopter up and they're driving it, they're flying away, and the naked elves are chasing after them, and then they go back, and the naked elves are chasing after them again, and they lower the bag of now frostbitten children who are dying of hypothermia, and the elves come
Well,
towards the kid. Yeah,
in a movie where there's a giant Santa Claus, you kind of got to suspend your disbelief just a
I
smidge, So
Well-
you can switch. You can at least do that for the fact that there's burlap sacks that are ridiculously strong, that they're made out of kryptonite.
right.
Well,
I mean,
they
to be
held
fair,
potatoes. They're made
Yeah.
different in Finland.
They held
Right.
your computer.
They take care of
actually,
all. Of it.
right. I got to ask you guys this question. Like, this movie's not all in Finnish. It actually has English dialogue. What do you guys
Yeah.
think about that? That's pretty interesting to me. Like how
It is. Yeah,
I mean,
I kind of like
one of
that.
the-
Yeah.
One of
I
the
mean,
guys
the-
speaks English.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
being that a lot of places in Europe, they learn both English or whatever their native languages and English as a rule. That's because it is, or they'll learn multiple languages. So, but yeah, it was nice
Yeah.
to see, they're not they're hitting it on both ends, and you kind of get off the bat, who your villains are. So,
I wonder if it kind of plays off the fact that Americans are greedy assholes.
well,
I wonder if
the
that.
one guy had a British accent when they started. So.
Okay, we're blaming Dan on this then. So the elves all get to the pen, and the kid is saved. He thinks he's going to sacrifice himself. He's telling the chopper pilot what to do. The other guy's friend, which I thought was kind of funny. He's like, tell my dad I was not a naughty boy or whatever he says, and it basically leads to them exploding the Santa Claus with the gigantic, massive explosion of a bunch of dynamite. I like how he's drilling into the ice. Then he puts the dynamite in. He's like drilling back into the ice. He puts the dynamite in. I'm like, how many? He probably did this like 100 times just to get it that big of an explosion. We set up like an Oppenheimer
really
explosion.
fast. If you do it really fast, it's a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how long those kids were in that burlap sack would be taking over the. I hope they are warm. I hope the elves gave them like coats and stuff like that.
They gave them those thermal blankets. Those ones that have like look like they're made out of like aluminum, just like aluminum, like
Right.
aluminum
Oh,
foil.
there you go.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
They did not give them
Uh,
cookies and milk. I can tell you that much.
No, they did not, because they didn't run a marathon. If they ran a marathon, they get one of those thermal blankets and cookies and milk.
right.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, it leads to probably the best ending to any holiday horror film I've ever seen. That is not like a B-level film. So Santa Claus is blown up. He's gone. He's finished. He's kaput.
He's finished?
Now, yeah, he's finished. Now Tim Allen's gonna come into the drums. Anyways, he's gone. He's kaput. Blazing Saddle style, whatever. And also the elves stop, and they look confused and they drop all their weapons like they are under some kind of power. They basically are
It's a
like
hive mind.
Yeah,
yeah,
very much
like
hive
Gru
mind.
died, all the minions wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
And it's pretty great because what they do with them next is like probably my favorite part, where they they're oh my god, everybody's safe, everybody's happy. It's like oh yeah, that's the best part. They're gonna give the English guy is gonna give them like $85,000 for the Santa, and they realize that they can make like $4.5 million off these elves. I think it's like I don't know if it's
Mhm.
Finnish money or American money. I don't know the answer to that question. They decide they're going to train all the Santas or all the elves to be Santa Clauses in malls, and they have like with a present. They have a whole like a doll baby. They're all in like white, the stuff you wear underneath, white
Long
shirt,
johns.
and long johns. Yeah, and I like how like some of the elves don't know how to handle kids, and I think one of them tries to kill the kid or something like that. Um, but I like that the father and son are like they're holding like the father's holding the kid, showing these elves how to do things. And then it leads to the best part. They just all these Santa Clauses or all these elves are now Santa Clauses, and they just put one in a box, lock the box up, or knock it up says rare exports, and then they just attach a piece of paper that tells them where it's like St. John's Island and London, England, and stuff like that. They're just loading all these elves into fucking planes to take off to be Santa Claus, and so they make these guys make like $4.5 million. It's fucking hilarious. I was
It's a
laughing
very
my ass
lucrative
off 'cause-
business.
Oh yeah,
right.
I like it.
But I like how the elves are just happy to be in boxes. They're just happy to be doing something. I guess it's just
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite endings that is not like an actual horror film. It's a holiday
Yeah.
film. It's not like the real sappy ending to It's a Wonderful Life or I do like I really like well I would say I really like the ending of Krampus. I don't know if you guys see Krampus.
Yeah,
I have not
yeah.
seen Krampus actually.
Yeah,
I
I'm
need
not-
to
I won't
I need to
spoil
get
it.
around to watch it.
Yeah, you should. It has a pretty wild ending, but
That's what
I
I
like
heard.
this ending. What's that? Yeah. It's
I heard that the ending's amazing to it.
It is very
yeah,
good.
that movie's like Gremlins on the crack. I love it. But yeah, 198 elves are become mall Santas and exploited. They're sent off. That's the end of the movie, and I love it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I mean that's the movie. Like, find elf. They think Santa, but not Santa. A bunch of people are killed.
Yeah.
One guy gets a
Yeah.
pickaxe in the head, which is great.
As
A
often
bunch
one
of people
often
get-
does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of people get like taken, without being seen, and a bunch of kids probably died in the process. And Santa had his day, and now we have mall Santas.
And now we have an abundant supply of mall Santas.
Hey,
Exactly.
they are a natural resource, and now that we know that Finnan exports so many of them, we can work with them and maybe garner a deal that'll give them to us at a less rate.
Right.
It's a living.
Yeah,
You think one? You think one of the elves is Billy Bob Thornton?
we can only hope.
I was gonna say, a man can dream.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, once again, it's a movie that made like $4 million worldwide, and it has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 stars, which is great.
Yeah.
It's like a rather brilliant lump of coal in your stocking.
Yeah, it's the kind of movie that Hollywood doesn't really make anymore because it didn't make that much money, but it's a movie that
Yeah.
kind of would 'cause this era of like Hollywood, like the early 2010s where you got like Scott Pilgrim and you got a whole bunch of some of these other movies that are well, I mean, Scott Pilgrim was kind of big budgeted and it didn't do very well in the theaters, but it made a killing on home video, like when the DVD,
Right.
like, back when we still could, when we didn't have to go to streaming services, we can watch our physical media copies. But yeah, it's a movie that just doesn't get made anymore because I think the only studio that's willing to take that risk is A24, and we're kind of seeing that with that new trailer that just came out for the Paul Rudd Jenna Ortega movie, The Last
Yeah.
Unicorn, I think is what it's called.
Mhm.
Where it looks
Yeah.
it looks amazing. But it's like that's the movie that doesn't get made in the Hollywood system anymore. And this one wasn't made in the Hollywood system. It's probably made by some Finnish studio, some that's
I
like
would
some kind of
imagine.
some kind of co-production with some American indie American filmmakers. But yeah, it's this movie that just doesn't get made anymore because it's I think that ad execs think that stuff like this is too risky, and it kind of is. I mean,
Oh, it
but
totally is.
it's a movie it's a movie that would be good, like watching on maybe like on Joe Bob Briggs, or I don't know.
Actually
Star
Oh,
just
he
Wars.
had
did.
no, he just
They-
had
Oh,
it.
did
Yeah,
he
he
do
just
it?
had
Yeah,
it.
he just did it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last
Okay.
like
Yeah.
his Christmas Carnage special.
Uh-huh.
That it was on
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay. So people, horror hosts like him. I don't know Svengoolie, which he might show it.
I think
not
it's
rated.
too. I feel like it's too new
Is it too-
for him.
Is
It
it
was
R-rated?
2010. I don't think so. It'd probably be PG-13, I would think, because there's not.
No, it's
for as
R-rated.
much.
Okay.
Oh, is it? I was gonna say
Yeah.
for as much implied violence, there's not really
Yeah.
all that much.
Nothing. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, probably. I mean, maybe like in a couple years down the road, they might show it on Svengoolie, but maybe not now.
I don't know.
'cause it's
I
only
feel
been
like
about
Svengoolie. I still think it'd be too new for him to show. Like,
14 years. Yeah, so maybe I don't know.
yeah, I would. I mean, most of his stuff, the newest things that he's shown, at least recently, I think they're 60s or 70s at most, right?
He did Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Well, that's 80s still.
Yeah.
That's talking 40 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, it's just it's a kind of movie that would either like get a horror host to show it, or it'd be shown on IFC during like a Christmas marathon where they'd show like Gremlins and stuff like that, and some of the other like Christmas related horror movies.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
it's also a lot better than some of the other Christmas related horror movies like Silent Night, Deadly Night, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, and but both have their cult followings, but definitely
Yeah.
different levels of cult followings. I mean,
Yeah,
like if you're doing your wide range of horror movies, this would be on the highly better end, both from the
Yeah.
perspective of production values and just general, like, this isn't a good bad movie, this is a
Right.
good movie.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think
That's
if you're looking for a good, like, if you are into Christmas horror, or even if you're just looking for something that's different and interesting, this is a very good entry for either
Very much
side
so.
of that. Yeah.
Very much so.
Exactly. Well, I got a couple of 1-star reviews for you.
Really?
Oh, God.
For this?
Yeah.
What
There's
the
people
total
who give
mess.
1-star reviews
I'm-
at thousands or hundreds of beavers. Let's be honest here.
Yeah,
fair point.
probably.
I'm just trying
so
to be
I'm not
edgy.
Right. I'm trying to
Actually,
be
that
contrarian.
does make me curious to go check out Common Sense Media and see what they have to say about this one.
So I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm just gonna read a small snippet of this one. It says total mess. The tone is all over the place, from horror to comedy. The film starts with a great sense of realism, only to end as a kind of fantasy film that doesn't care about realism at all.
So-
I'm sorry, you're talking
Giant
about a
Santa
movie.
Claus.
Right. Oh, okay. So real quick, that was one other really funny thing that I loved about the ending of the movie. So Santa, he's in this big block of ice. All you see is like horns, like Krampus would be, and they chainsaw off of his horns and pop them in the back of their vehicle. That's such a, like, if you're a hunter, that's just like
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, guys, on Common Sense Media, they list off the things that, things to look for. Sex and nudity, mild. Several middle-aged to elderly men are seen near the end of the film. Bare buttocks are clearly visible, perhaps some frontal nudity as well, although not explicit.
Okay. Okay. So there's dongs flapping in the wind. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I got this one. It says very bizarre. Don't waste your time with this one. A tale of child torturing Santa. Explicit male nudity. The end.
Oh God. Those are the people that were protesting Silent Night, Deadly Night when it came out 40 years ago.
Agreed. But that's a funny thing. It's kind of like Texas Chainsaw. The violence, and I would almost say nudity as well. I mean, you do get silhouettes and such, but it's more implied than anything you actually see.
But just the implication's bad enough for some people.
Oh, no, I agree. I mean, look at the response to Psycho. You think, oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, I saw her chopped to pieces. You didn't see anything.
No, you didn't.
You saw a whole bunch of really quick cuts with a knife.
Yep.
And a woman screaming. That's it.
Yep.
If anything is explicit
Yeah.
about this, it's honestly, there was a a reindeer carcass being butchered at one point. That's honestly the by and large the most explicit, like, violent thing you see. Truly.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, the guy gets
Yeah.
picked axe. He gets an axe in the
Oh, he
head,
deserved
so.
it though.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not bad if you deserve it. That's
Exactly.
just
Apparently.
that's good old fashioned Midwestern fun.
Although
Oh,
even
dude.
with the guy, I question the American guy that kind of starts this whole thing. Like obviously he's going looking for Santa, but there's no like, and he's got his rules like no swearing, no smoking, whole 9 yards of those. But like he doesn't he when he meets up with him, he's like, that's not Santa. But he doesn't really go anything further than that. It's not like they did anything to kind of stop all the death and destruction.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Why would you want to stop it?
Exactly.
Right, right.
Forget the poor town down the hill.
Uh,
They don't, whatever.
It's only like three people in the town. It could be
Yeah.
wiped
yeah.
off the map tomorrow.
There
No one
was
would
way too
care.
many kids for there to only be three people in that town.
Three people, 150,000 kids, all
Yeah,
dead.
They breed
Everybody
like
left out.
they breed like jackrabbits.
apparently so.
Exactly.
But they also had 198 like elves. Where were all those elves getting the kids from?
Also, how can you make that
Uh,
much money on 198 elves? Now
I
that I
Well,
think
mean,
about
eighty
you can tell
eighty-five
that they're
thousand
Santa Claus.
dollars per Santa, yeah.
it. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, exactly. They just gotta watch Terrifier 3. They'll know all exactly
Oh,
all about it.
I refuse to. I will not watch any of those Terrifier movies, mostly because I believe violence and gore should have a purpose and not be just for shock value.
I mean, there was purpose. It was to
Exactly.
Yeah,
make art laugh.
that's fair.
Yeah, stop trying to make excuses for why art can kill people.
I mean, he doesn't need a reason. He just walks around and does it.
Apparently, yeah. All right. With that said, did anybody have any closing thoughts on this movie before we head out?
Uh,
It's don't let the because I'm sure that there's a lot of folks that would look at this and say, well, it's a subbed movie, like subtitled. It's not for me. The story in this matters, but it doesn't. It's not. You don't need to 100% keep track of what's going on. It's a quick moving movie. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of just great stuff that happens. It's well worth your time to watch, I would say.
I concur. I
Exactly.
I ditto what she said.
Yeah. I would add too that just like the fact that like that there's a scene when Pietro is like or Piet sorry Pieter is kind of like looking over his notes and stuff and he sees that Santa like spanks kids, so he has like cardboard and he duct tapes it to his backside when he goes and tries to get ready to take on Santa. Like he's got his helmet, he's got his hockey pads on, and then he's got like a whole like get up to stop Santa from trying to spank him.
Well, of course.
Uh,
He's got to do it the old fashioned kid way.
I'm sure that's probably some kind of part of the folklore that I don't think I want to understand.
But yeah, I once again I really enjoy this movie. It's one of my favorites to go to every year for Christmas, similar like Trick or Treat for Halloween. And if you have not seen this movie, I highly recommend it. I think it really is that good. It's quick, it's breezy, and you get to see some male nudity. So if you like that kind of thing, you are good to go.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Trey's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
she perks up. She's like a dog when it
exactly.
hears the word treat. It just
No,
I don't need
she's
no old man nudity.
oh man.
she's like the dog. She's like the dog in Up. She's like penis.
Not old man penis. I'm sorry. I just
Oh man.
Oh boy.
All right. So with that said, I wish you guys a Merry Christmas. But before we head out, Triv, Kurt, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having me.
Kurt, I'll start with you. Content that you have or what you do, where's that at?
Mostly on Letterboxd. I write Letterboxd reviews. A lot of them. I've written about over 200, I think now.
wow.
I got like three more that I need to write because after we do the Friday Night Popcorn and Pain Discord movie stream, I write reviews about like the first three movies that I watch, and they're normally really bad. So I'm gonna get like a lot of 2 0-star reviews coming up here that I will warn people never to watch unless you have a bad.
Spoilers.
I'm not gonna spoil it for people. I'm also
No,
gonna
you're
write one.
spoiling the fact that you said that you have
Oh yeah,
0%
oh
reviews
yeah. They're
coming
gonna be
out.
0 stars because everyone. I'm never gonna give a Bai Lang movie a 1 star review. I don't think. Well, no, I can't say that. She has an uncredited role in Revenge of the Sith. I might
Oh.
give that. I'll give that more than 1 star review. So, because I kind of like
Wink.
Revenge of the Sith.
Isn't she cut out? Isn't she technically cut out of that movie?
She may have been, but she's like listed as uncredited, so maybe she's still technically in it, but her scene might have been cut. I have no idea.
It also appeared in the Playboy representing that movie as well. So.
Yeah, because Brian from Popcorn and Pain posted that in the Popcorn and Pain Discord today. But yeah, I just wrote a review for Money Plane.
Oh my god!
Which if you've never seen Money Plane,
oh my god, I'm sorry.
It is oh god, don't be. I love the hell out of that movie. It is not good, but it is fun. I think I might like write a couple Christmas reviews because I don't really write those during this time of year. I have my go-to Christmas movies that I watch this time of year, like Die Hard and like It's a Wonderful Life and The Grinch, the anime Grinch Stole Christmas and the Charlie Brown Christmas and Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, that kind of shit. So I might either like make a list, which I think I already done. I think I might have made a list on that. I might write reviews. I don't know yet. If you want, if I'm also on Blue Sky. I don't really like write anything about movies on Blue Sky. I just mostly just post bullshit. So if you want to see somebody from the Midwest post bullshit, follow me on Blue Sky. It's Wazy of Arabia, and you can also find a link to my Letterboxd on my Blue Sky account because I'm not on Twitter anymore.
So look forward to that. Triv, what you got?
In addition to the shorts that the PSA riffs that I did with Kurt for Christmas, I'm actually probably releasing the same day as this. We did the Rhapsody Kids, I Believe in Santa, which if you've not seen it, this is my first view, and it is it's a thing. We'll just call it a thing for now. But that was a lot of fun to riff with Narcotic Casserole. So definitely give that a look. Upcoming stuff, probably back to a lot of riff like short form riffs, in addition to a few reviews thrown in there as well. Well, with yourself or with both of you actually, not together, just separately. But those will probably be dropping consistently through the new year. And stop by, say hi. Also, excellent. Obviously, we're doing Twilight Zone, so keep an eye out for new episodes there.
Exactly. Yeah. Those will be back on January 1st, hopefully. Everybody apparently works during holidays. It's crazy. For me, I've had 2 videos post for Fire Inside Fire Inside and Los Freakus. And then I have my year-end best and most disappointing and most anticipated videos coming out as well as Squid Game Season 2. So look forward to that. But we're going to head out. Once again, I wish you guys a Merry Christmas. I do appreciate you guys watching this video. But Kurt, Triv, thank you so much as well. And with that said, if you like what you see on this channel, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell. Top Fun's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Chrysler.